What happens when someone's entire sense of power depends on controlling other people, and they encounter a person who cannot be psychologically possessed? That is where the modern psychological battlefield meets the ancient esoteric concept of sovereignty. Part 1. The energy of the modern age. Look around. We are living in an environment saturated with fear, comparison, status competition, jealousy, envy, outrage, and the constant struggle for attention. People are taught to measure themselves against everyone around them. Who has more? Who is more attractive? Who is more successful? Who receives more attention? Who has more influence? And when identity becomes dependent upon comparison, another person's freedom can begin to feel like a threat. The esoteric traditions would describe this as attachment to the lower expressions of power, dominance instead of sovereignty, possession instead of connection, fear instead of discernment, envy instead of inspiration, control instead of self-mastery. Part 2. The oppressive state of being. Here's the paradox. A person obsessed with controlling everyone around them may eventually become internally controlled by the very emotions they're projecting outward. Fear creates hypervigilance. Jealousy creates comparison. Envy creates resentment. Resentment creates fixation. Fixation creates an increasingly narrow perception of reality. And eventually, the person can become trapped inside an oppressive psychological state of being. From an esoteric perspective, you could call this enslavement to the shadow. The person isn't actually free. They're governed by whatever threatens their ego. Their peace depends upon someone else's submission. Their confidence depends upon someone else's inferiority. Their sense of importance depends upon someone else's attention. Their identity depends upon maintaining dominance. That isn't sovereignty. That's dependency, disguised as power. Part 3. Then the Chosen One. Archetype appears. The Chosen One archetype represents something radically different, the individual who cannot be spiritually reduced to external approval. They may still experience fear. They may still experience pain. They may still encounter jealousy or opposition. But they begin learning something crucial. I don't have to become what I'm surrounded by. The world says, compete. They choose discernment. The world says, react. They choose observation. The world says, prove yourself. They choose embodiment. The world says, let their opinion define you. They choose inner authority. And this is where the contrast becomes profound. Part 4. Why the uncontrollable person becomes a mirror. From a psycho-spiritual perspective, the person who cannot be controlled can become deeply uncomfortable to someone whose identity depends upon control, not because they possess supernatural powers, but because autonomy exposes dependency. Someone who doesn't chase approval reveals who needs approval. Someone who doesn't compete reveals who needs comparison. Someone who doesn't submit reveals who needs dominance. Someone who can walk away reveals who was dependent upon access. The mirror isn't saying, I am better than you. The mirror simply says, you do not own me. And sometimes that statement is more disruptive to an unhealthy power dynamic than confrontation ever could be. Part 5. The esoteric alchemy. This is where the Chosen One archetype transforms the experience. Instead of asking, why are they jealous of me? Ask, what is this experience teaching me about attachment? Instead of, why are they trying to dominate me? Ask, where must I strengthen my boundaries? Instead of, how do I defeat them? Ask, how do I remain internally free? That is alchemy. You take fear and convert it into discernment. You take rejection and convert it into self-knowledge. You take envy and refuse to internalize it. You take attempts at domination and strengthen your sovereignty. Final message. The greatest spiritual victory isn't becoming powerful enough to dominate your enemies. It's becoming too internally sovereign to require domination at all, because the person obsessed with controlling others may be living inside a prison of fear, while the person who can govern themselves is walking toward freedom. And perhaps that's the deeper lesson of the chosen one archetype. Your power isn't proven by how many people you can control. It's proven by how completely you can govern yourself. We live in an age where fear can masquerade as power, jealousy can masquerade as discernment, and dominance can masquerade as strength. But esoteric sovereignty teaches a different path. Master yourself, protect your attention, refuse unnecessary power struggles. Don't become what you are resisting. The most powerful energy in the room may be the person who no longer needs to control anyone. If you're learning to move through environments of fear, envy, jealousy, and dominance without surrendering your inner authority, comment, I choose sovereignty. And that's Alchemy.In.Motion, chosen ones. Drop a comment and share how you mastered self while remaining unbothered in these environments. Then share this with someone who is learning that self-mastery is the highest form of power. Be sure to like, comment, and follow your tribe of alchemists.